Well, all right, we're back with part two of my sand heater project. I just got in the replacement element today, and I've got it installed back in the bucket. And when I stuck it in there and put a little bit of sand over the top of the burner there, I just plugged it into 120 volts instead of having it running at 155 like I did before. And after running it for a while, it looked like the temperature was hovering around 400 degrees, which is about half the temperature of what it was on the first burner when I did the same thing. So hopefully that is a low enough temperature, and it'll stay low enough that it won't destroy the burner like the other one did, running at 800 degrees, and it probably got much hotter than that being buried in the sand. So as it stands right now, running it at 120 volts is drawing about 550 watts. And what I'm going to do is, since I'm anxious to get this thing tested as fast as possible, normally I run my heater during the day, during daylight hours from 9 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So since this is drawing just 558 watts, and I've got a good sized battery bank, I can run this for 7 hours without dipping into the batteries too bad. So that's what I'm going to do. I started this at 3:30, and it's now just a little bit after 5. Well, actually, it's almost near 5:30 now. So it's been almost 2 hours since this has been running, and we'll just see just how well it's doing here so far. As you can see, I had to paint the side of the bucket black because these type of temperature readers here will not read a shining surface. You'll get a false reading on it. So let's see, we'll go down to the bottom there. 206, 250, 260. All right, so it looks like it's around 260 degrees right now. And as we go up towards the top there, it rapidly declines. And up here on the top of the lid, there's really not much difference in from what the room temperature is. Maybe about 10 degrees more. So it's not doing anything real fast, but we'll see what happens after about 7 hours. And if for some reason after 7 hours it doesn't put out a decent amount of heat, what I'll probably end up doing is I'll add a second burner right above the first one and tie them together just so I can get this thing heated up faster. So anyways, we'll see what happens here in 7 hours. So we'll be back in the next segment here, so stay tuned. Okay, we're back now, and it's 7 hours later, and it looks like there's probably going to be a part 3 to this video. And the reason for that is after 7 hours of running, about 9 o'clock, the temperature in here started dropping down to below 65 degrees, which is a little bit chilly for me. So even with the heater running, it wasn't substantially contributing to heating the shed as good as, say, those 24 volt heaters that I got up there. So what's going to end up happening here is tomorrow, after this thing cools down, and I'll check this in the morning when I get up to see how much heat that it's retained overnight. But after it cools down, I want to dump the sand out and inspect the element or the burner and see if there was any kind of damage to it from running that 7 hours. And if it still looks good, then what I'm probably going to end up doing in the third video is I'm going to add a second burner about midway on this here, and we'll double up the power on the sand heater here, and that should get it substantially hotter than what it did tonight. And this is what it did tonight. Look here at the thermometer, and one thing I noticed about this thermometer here, it seems like it gets a better temperature reading if you get those dots where they meet together. It gives you more accurate reading. So what we've got there is well, 450, 480 right down there in the bottom, but as you move up to the top, it still substantially drops considerably. where up here on the thermometer I'm reading, let's see, about 225 degrees. And in fact, the lid is quite warm, but it's not hot enough where I can burn myself on. So that's telling me that in the 7 hours that this is running, it's not getting hot enough to do any significant damage here in the shed as far as keeping it warm. And it's not a particularly cold night tonight either. As you can see up there, we're right at about 50 degrees. And at 9 o'clock I came in here and I had to turn on one of the 24 volt heaters to get it back up above 65. And so it's about 67 degrees in here now. I shut off the 24 volt heater because it makes a lot of noise and it might mess up the audio. So anyways, that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. Check the temperature, see how much heat is held overnight. And then once it cools down, I'm going to inspect that element and see if it survived that 7 hours without any kind of damage. And if it did, then we're going to go to the next part, and that's by adding another element, which will be in part 3. And then we'll see what it does then. So if I'm getting 475 degrees down on the bottom, adding another element, I should be able to get an even 475 all the way from top to bottom. And that may be significant enough for this thing to do what I need it to do. So anyway, stay tuned. There'll be another segment here before the end of this part. And then we'll know in the morning or after I dump the sand out, just check that element out, whether or not we're going to go on to a part 3 or not. So anyways, stay tuned for the next segment, and we'll see you then. All right, we're back. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, about 8 hours later. And I'm going to make this quick because I'm going to get back to bed and get some more Z's and see what we got here. Oh, about 115 degrees. So that's not all that great. So in this last segment here, I'm going to dump the sand out later on this morning and check the element out. And if the element survived and it looks okay, we'll go to the next phase in video 3 and add a second element to the sand heater and see what kind of results we get out of that. So, well, that's the end of this segment here, and stay tuned for the last segment for the end of the show. Well, there you go, guys. There's the element. It's got a little bit of crust stuck to the burner, but other than that, it looks like it survived pretty darn good. So that means we can go ahead with the next process and add another element to this and see what happens after that. So anyways, that ends this video here. So thanks for watching, guys. Over and out.